close up. I was just grabbing what I needed. Forgot to take these.
You don't get paid for
Some sort of county faux pas.
No.
I know, like leaving them out, is that like,
Well, it's just,
Oh, yeah.
taking off members are not there, with making sure we're accurate with the name. We'll put this up here. Hopefully, is he coming?
I've been running it like.
Good, it's right there.
Change what they're willing, all these companies. So they have changed what they're willing to accept.
All right.
I will get you something. You will make it.
How you doing?
Howdy.
Good, what's going on? Got a little more elbow space over there now?
Yeah.
Thank you.
no, it's dry, we donated all our blood to everybody else. You need some?
Hey, John, how you doing?
I saw Dustin earlier saying, tell me a little bit about it.
It really wasn't that cold.
No. Everything was last.
It was fun. 9 o'clock this morning, it was fun.
It'll be interesting.
I have my, I was down to a regular shirt.
Greg?
I'm out mucking stalls. Maybe that's what,
You can't just stand out there.
that's for the
Have you started the recording already?
Yeah, it started.
You may want to just make sure there's no hot mic moments.
Everything. We're live.
Good intentions.
Charges shipping, what they pay for. I think we had some.
That's what it is.
That was not too bad.
Yeah, that's not terrible.
The other one said they were gonna charge us $1.50 cartridge or whatever. I mean, we didn't pay it. Paid
What
them.
would be the question of it? This one I think is one that will charge. If we saw, we know we've got it right. They, I think they're the ones that said they're going to charge. That will pay that.
Could be worse, could be swinging. What's that?
That's fine.
oh, they get on the dogs.
You know?
Oh, you smell me? You smell skunk?
Okay.
You're taking this Woodbury farming thing way too far.
No, my
Yeah.
dog got skunked, so.
What's that?
You're locking the doors tonight.
Oh, no, I didn't mean to.
No. But you're gonna lock
I
up
mean, I
tonight.
can, yeah.
Yeah, because I may be going by the time.
Yeah.
I'm just working on budget stuff.
Yeah,
The side door, I take care of.
yeah, I'll make sure it's locked.
Are you still another one's people? Take them away.
You got him in the face, he comes in the house, rips, runs back out and rolls his face on the ground.
Oh, you put those in there? There you go.
This year's budget's so tight, I'm gonna have to.
I was gonna say,
And put a
plug it
new
up
one
and
on.
put a new one on.
Yeah.
Just use duct tape.
Well, have you been paying attention to the state thing where they mess up funding for schools?
I've already reached out to Emmett today, Senator Hanger, and I'm like,
They gotta come up with something on that one.
well, it's not only if they don't fix it for FY '24, it affects current.
In their defense, they can say, oops, my bad.
That's basically, yeah.
Well, I don't wanna
that's
hear
basically
any
what it's
more about budget surplus, like, get more comfort funds.
Yeah.
Help us there. Anyway, everyone's on budget, I'll be down.
Yeah, was that you?
What are we doing? Like, stuff is usually gonna be like,
Cereal also, Emerald line, they came up excavated. Oh, two of them. Two of them, within in 2 weeks.
You don't have any insurance. You don't have any insurance.
And it does not.
He got canceled now, yeah.
It's not-
Two excavators in 2 weeks, yeah.
Well, when you blow a hydraulic line, that feels.
Oh, absolutely.
That was the first thing on that.
We'll make it work.
Recommend a good insurance.
Oh, I'm gonna get counted.
Yeah.
So hydraulic fluid.
You can pull you in them from that, that's.
They won't explode.
Just tell them it's not a heel or a under.
They will.
I got him under control. I got a little frustrated today. He called me back about 5 minutes later when I needed.
Anyhow.
Oh, yeah, no, I don't have it with my laptop. What's that? Oh, it is right here? Well, cool. What we gotta do here?
You just plug your HMDMI cable, all the information's on the,
How do you turn that on? Is that on back there?
it should go.
Yeah, if I can do it, yeah, might as well.
Just says, letter of law. Letter of law.
All right, as soon as it loads up, I'm gonna press the phone.
We're waiting for you to call the break.
All right, sorry about that. Let's go ahead and call the meeting of the planning commission to order. And I know we typically don't, but let's stand and recite the pledge of allegiance and then move to silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First thing we have on the agenda tonight, and we're being recorded, correct?
Yep.
Okay. I'm Sean Gregg, I'm the attorney. For the purposes of this meeting, I'm serving as a parliamentarian until such time as we elect a new chairman for the planning commission. At that point, after the chairman is elected, I will step down, and whomever the elected chairman is will take over the meeting. Do we have any nominations for chairman of the planning commission?
You wanna bring the issue up first?
Well, let's just go with your.
You need to get
slate
rid of
law.
the issues, don't you?
Well, which,
I don't know what the issue
All right,
is.
which
the
issue?
issue is this. I was appointed, chairman of the nomination committee. We had two members, Nathan and, Francoise. And then she is no longer on the commission, so she would not be a member of our committee, at least I guess.
Well, did the committee meet and,
We talked, yes,
okay, so you met and did you have any recommendations?
we did.
So the
Yeah, but it's
committee's
just two of
purpose has
us.
been,
well, it started with 3.
it started
It
with.
was
three.
started with 3, but she never was able to be a part of it because by the time we met, she.
So, yeah, I'm not sure it does. So two of the, well, are you in agreement? I mean, in terms of.
Except for
what the
one
nomination
thing,
is?
yes. Normally, we have a chairman, a vice chair, and the secretary, and if you read our bylaws,
The
they,
secretary has to be a.
Resident.
Resident.
Madison County, but does not have to be a member of the planning commission. And it has been brought to our attention, and Nathan has served as our secretary this past year. It's been brought to our attention that perhaps Ligon's office could write the minutes.
Well, there are two ways to do it. There is the official secretary, the office of secretary, and then the people who actually do the work. So you can designate somebody on the planning commission to be the secretary for that purpose, and that person can delegate to whomever they want, staff or otherwise, someone to take care of taking minutes and transcribing. But so the function of the position would be handled by whomever the secretary delegates it to.
Do the people that delegate, they've got to be,
Well, they're not legally the secretary then, they're just the delegate of the secretary.
they got to be willing to do it, and they
Well-
got to do it though, right?
Well,
I don't really understand the question. Let me try to explain it.
Okay.
All right. There are lots of positions, like there are undersecretaries of the treasury. They don't take dictation. They don't write memos. They are named as secretaries because they administer people below them, or people who are given that responsibility, and that person reports to them. So, in this case, if there is a secretary who lives in Madison County, that secretary can designate someone who is a resident of Madison County to carry out those responsibilities.
so the question would be, if we want to use the person in Ligon's office that he has in mind, that would be the secretary, she could be the community member, if she lives in Madison County.
Yeah, well, once we get past
I got it. Thank
electing a chairman, then we can set our rules and change our bylaws, and then we can take care of all this problem.
Well,
I think the thing at hand right now is electing a chairman.
Oh, okay.
So the committee is nominating Steve to remain as chairman.
Okay, so we have a recommendation from the committee.
Second.
Okay, are there any other comments in terms of any additional nominees? I would ask for a motion to, we've already second, so the issue's been joined. All in favor of electing Steve Carpenter to continue his reign as the chairman of the Madison County Planning Commission, vote? Aye or no?
Aye.
Anyone in opposition?
I guess needs some
Think so?
power, I don't know.
Congratulations.
Okay, Steve, you're back.
Thank you.
Good luck with the secretary.
Yeah,
Where's Oakwood?
Turns out.
yeah. All right, well, that being the case, let's
We don't really
proceed
need
then
that,
with
but just
your
next time.
recommendation for the slate for the vice chairman.
Vice chair, I've served as vice chairman this last year, and.
Looks like it's dead.
The two of us decided that would be, I would continue.
All right, do we have any other nominations from the floor? Any discussion? All right, can we have a motion then on this?
I make a motion for Fades to continue as vice chairman.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, Fay, you're official again. Now, the secretary, that's gonna be interesting. All right,
No, that's not gonna be interesting. I'm gonna make a motion that we change our bylaws, and we make it where our bylaws will say that anybody that's a citizen of the county or an employee of the county can do our minutes. That's the end of it.
okay. That brings up the point, we have to have a specific time period. There has to be a notification time period.
Absolutely.
So-
After our time period, we can do that.
We can vote on that, I think, the next meeting, is that correct?
Yeah.
5 days.
Yeah.
It says 5 days. I think all that's meant
Yeah.
to be is that you have to have a little time before you change it. It's brought up, so you just can't change it every meeting. So I would say if you want to do that, then I'll just present the minutes next meeting.
Okay,
The
we'll
only-
give you a trial run for.
Right. So what we're doing is on our YouTube recording, I'm simply having a staff person just transcribe and I'll sign. Here's the catch. We have to talk into the microphone.
And turn them on.
So we can make sure we know, who first and second things. So other than that, as long as it's talking to the microphone, I think it shouldn't be any problem.
Okay.
And while we're at it, who first and seconded the chair nomination? You mind just telling me that, just for the record?
I was gonna record the stuff. I can give it to you afterwards if you want,
Oh, okay.
the important stuff.
Right. That's all I need to know is those things. So, I'll do the minutes the next time, and if y'all want to change the bylaws to that, that's great.
Okay,
So if I'm reading this correctly, it says the commission may temporarily suspend any of these bylaws by a unanimous vote of the members present.
Yeah,
Provided
temporary
there's a quorum. So
Okay.
can we,
Okay.
provide there's a quorum in attendance,
which there is.
which there is.
So we could do that. We could suspend that particular bylaw for tonight and then take Pete's motion to amend the bylaws and get a second for that, and then we can vote on that. But before we do that, let's vote on whether we want to go that direction. So can we get a motion? Well, Pete's is already on the floor though, so
Second.
Wait, did Pete-
Pete's has been seconded.
Did you move to amend the bylaws tonight?
So I move
Just
to
move
make a
to-
motion for us to amend the bylaws when we can.
Yeah.
All right, and now, as I understand it, Mike is relying on Article 9, Section 2, which says the commission may temporarily suspend bylaws by a unanimous vote of the members present, provided a quorum is in attendance. So I guess what you would need is a motion to temporarily suspend the bylaws.
I'm making that motion.
Well, my question was, since Pete's got a motion on the floor, we have to deal with that first, correct?
Yeah, technically, yes.
I rescind my motion.
So he's withdrawn his
So
motion,
now he can do it and we're good to go.
Okay.
and then Pete, presumably you'll make your motion.
All right, Mike, you want to make your motion?
I'll make a motion that we temporarily suspend the bylaw for secretary. And contingent that we have a unanimous members present.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Unanimous, okay.
Now, Mr. Elliott, I think has a motion.
Yes.
I'll make the motion that we change our bylaws once we can by the days that we have to give. Make a motion that we change it to where you can be a county employee or live in the county to do the secretary and the minutes.
Second.
All right. Pete has made the motion. Nathan seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
And based on that, because it says you can suspend the bylaw, and I think Mr. Snyder indicated that he wanted to suspend particularly,
That one.
what number was it? Was it
The residency requirement.
4-3? He wanted to suspend 4-3 related to the,
4-3, yes.
you're not, as I understand your motion, I'm not trying to put words in
Sure.
your mouth, but your motion is to amend 4-3 to change the language to a county employee
Yes.
or
A
a
resident,
resident. of Madison
resident
County.
working, yes.
So that's the motion. Is there a second?
Yes, that was seconded and voted on, yeah.
And is there a vote?
Already voted, yeah.
All right, so now, Living can serve as secretary, if someone else who's a county employee can serve as secretary. Congratulations, Lee.
I'll make sure.
Speech.
Big win.
I'm really counting on the YouTube thing here, though. So,
Well, along those lines, also in the bylaws, I'll have to be more careful with this. When we do complete a motion, I'm supposed to say it again, basically say who did the motion, who seconded it, and what it said. So I'll try to remember, and you guys remind me if I forget to do that. Okay, so that's temporarily at least taking care of the secretary. Okay, do we have anything else we need to do along those lines now? I think-
Yes, once we get there.
Yeah, that's, we'll have to make a motion for that also, yeah.
2-1.
Yeah, the number of
Yes.
members of the
Right.
planning commission.
Now would be an appropriate time to take that up.
But the plan commission has to give a 5-day notice to be able to change that, correct?
Yes, just like the other.
Unless they suspend their bylaws.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we either suspend the bylaws, or the planning commission hadn't really did anything. The board decided, and the board is appointee, that it'd be 7 members. Planning commission didn't change the bylaws, or didn't do anything. So we give a 5-day notice, Sean, we can come back and say, we can have from 5 to 10 members, and it's all good, because we didn't do anything. They did.
But remember, you work at the pleasure of the board of supervisors.
Exactly.
And if you want to really ingratiate yourself, you could press that point.
You could say
No, I'm
seven,
just saying, we didn't do anything, they did, so if we give a notice of 5 days, and we're good to go, and just change it the next time we meet, and it's no big deal.
Yeah.
Because they have a right to say if it's 3 or not.
yeah, and I think we do need to make that change, so we need to make the amendment.
Oh, I agree with
I would
that.
submit that tonight is as good a night
Is
as
good,
any
yeah.
to change that to.
And that'll,
2-1 should be amended to state that the planning commission shall consist of 7 members appointed by the board of supervisors, all of whom shall be residents of Madison County.
yeah. I think, actually, Ligon, I think you had a suggestion for a range of numbers there.
Yeah, it's anywhere from 5 to 15 as determined by the board of supervisors.
Yeah, is that a fairly common practice in the bylaws of planning commissions in Virginia? Do you know, or is that just?
Honestly, I'm not real super familiar with bylaws. I mean, you hear bylaws, but I think all just stating, we might in a few years decide, we want to have 15, It's at the discretion of the board, so just say maybe between 5 and 15 people as decided by the
So why don't we
boards.
hear from them and see what they think?
Yeah, do we want to say specifically 7, or we look at a range of numbers?
The only question I got is quorum is dictated by appointed members,
By the number of members. That's
not based on a range in
Right.
the bylaws.
That is correct.
So, doesn't matter.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah, fine. As long as that doesn't come up. Okay.
Just from what I know, having, taken the classes some years ago and also attended some meetings around, most of the planning commissions around us at least are fairly small. They're not big. They're up to 7, certainly not even as big as 12 or as we used to have. They were mostly all smaller. 7,
Yeah, I'd say 7's about
that's about as big as they get.
yeah.
Okay, so,
But we could check that out, but I don't know
Well,
if it matters, it's all.
my question is simply, do we want to go with a specific single number or a range?
A range,
I would say a range myself.
5 to 11.
The advantage of a bigger number is you're gonna take the direction from what the board of supervisors tells you. And if you're going to do that, and the board of supervisors is giving you a number, why not use that number? Because they can always change it. I mean, as we're seeing tonight, it's not that difficult to change these things.
Yeah.
I would just keep them from having to keep changing.
But realistically, how frequently is this gonna come up?
Well, really, all you'd have to say from what we have right now is just change the word up to 9 members.
You can do that.
Another possibility.
Shall consist of up to 9 members, and that's all you'd have to change.
Okay. You want
Make
to
a
make,
motion to suspend the rules, or change, you gotta suspend the rules.
Okay.
That's exactly right.
Article 2-1.
Second.
all right.
All right, if I could restate that a little.
Mhm.
I understand that Mr. Elliott wants to invoke, Article 9, Section 2, again, so that, they can vote again on,
Two dash one.
Yeah, 2-1.
Yep, 2-1, for the purpose of, no, there's, another one that,
And I think there is for the number.
the notice. I'm looking for the 5-day notice.
Oh, that's on the last page. That's 9.
All right.
9-1.
You're invoking 9-2 to amend the bylaws pursuant to Article 9, Section 1, and the changes to Article 2, Section 1, to say the planning commission shall consist of up to 9 members appointed by the Board of Supervisors, all of whom shall be residents of Madison County.
Yes,
Do I
sir.
understand the motion?
That's the motion.
Sounds good. Is
I
there a
second.
Motion is made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, unanimous approval of
You're not
that.
gonna repeat all that, Steve?
Right, yeah.
Just kidding.
Only if I have
The
a,
upshot of it is, now the Board of Supervisors, the Planning Commission has amended its bylaws to say that it shall consist of up to 9 members. This has been done pursuant to the other bylaws of the Madison County Planning Commission.
okay,
That's not a motion or anything, that's just.
right, and
to make
all
sure
right,
that
let me make
everybody
sure I'm
understands
understanding
what
this
it was.
correctly. Then, at our next meeting, which will be the workshop meeting at the end of third Wednesday, then, since we made these motions, then we can vote on
Then we'll
the
have
actual amendment.
No, you've already.
We've already
We're
done
done.
it. We're
We're
done,
done.
You're
we're
done.
finished.
It's all finished.
Because we
It's all
suspended
done.
the bylaws, we don't need the 5 days.
You sus-
Okay,
Yeah.
well,
On the
Article
15
9,
days.
Section 1, Section 2 enabled you to do away with the 5-day notice under Article 9, Section 1.
okay,
Does it make sense?
sounds like
I
a,
just want to make sure that,
sounds tricky, but, yeah, okay,
So we'll come back and do it this time, right?
okay,
I think it's right.
yeah, we'll blame you, there you go.
and we will need to note on the bylaws that they were amended on February 1 of 2023.
Yeah, on those two.
Right, so Ligon will get us new copies,
Yep,
just
Okay.
of those two.
there's two things that were changed, basically, yep.
Yep. And as far as,
Make sure the minutes reflect that we
Yeah.
voted the,
while they were suspended, we then voted on an amendment. Okay, while we're at it, is there anything else we need to look at on those?
Welcome to the meeting.
well, to that, in that regard,
Mhm.
if you want a committee to look at your bylaws and make sure that what everybody wants, you might want to appoint a committee for that purpose.
Yeah,
Or you can
Oh.
just, somebody can bring it up at the next meeting, or, whatever they.
yeah, and it's been 3 years. 2020 was a busy year, apparently, on amending the
Yes,
bylaws.
we did do a lot that year,
Yeah,
several things. Was it more than that? That's when we put in the electronic meetings, things like
Right,
that
yeah.
because of COVID.
yeah. Is it worthwhile at this point in trying to set up a committee to do that, or?
Let me,
Let's
where
wait on
where
it.
is that? There was an issue with that, let me see, where is that?
Let's see, a lot of that was
Meetings,
4-3, the secretary shall do a bunch of stuff with.
not that, it's the, I think it's in Article 6.
Uh-huh, yeah, there were some changes there, too.
That was a big one. On Article 610,
Mhm.
That's what was changed because of the COVID.
right, that was changed because of COVID, but the issue was
You can just two
the
meetings
number
a year
of
and-
Right,
meetings,
right.
the number of meetings that you could request.
And that's under Virginia, I forgot the code section, but it's good, the code section.
So we have to abide by that.
Absolutely.
And do they require that you can only request if it's not for medical reasons? That's where it came
I don't
in.
remember, I don't think it's medical reasons, I think it's twice.
Anything, twice no matter what.
Yeah, it says, no member of the planning commission shall be entitled to rely on this provision more than twice in any calendar year.
Right.
Correct.
For any
And that
reason.
is temporary or permanent disability or medical or anything due to personal.
So
Yeah.
I'm willing to find the Virginia code, and just make sure we're in compliance with that, unless that's changed. And we leave ours, of course, the same. If it has changed there, then we can make that reflection.
Yeah,
It has
if-
not changed.
If I understood it at the time, that was where that number came from. We
Oh,
had
it
to-
did.
We had to
It
use
did.
that.
That is correct.
That was 2 years ago, right? Because I was
Well, 3 now.
sitting up there when that
Yeah,
happened,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay, well, we'll somehow, if we need it, we can do it.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's.
If it has
out of-
not changed with the state, we leave it.
Okay, any other discussion about that? So at this point, there's no need to make a motion or set up a commission or anything right now.
Are we changing that or leaving it the same or ignoring
We
it?
can't
We
change it if
don't
it's
think we
state.
can change it. I think it's a state.
If it's a state
That's
code,
what
we're not gonna
required.
change it.
Yeah.
And we think it's a state code right now.
Yeah. So that's out of our hands. Okay, any other? All right, let's move on to review the minutes from January 4th then. Which was blessedly short. Anyone see anything that needs to be changed or corrected on those minutes? As always, our secretary did a wonderful job.
Yes.
They're the last ones.
All right, can I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Okay, Fay has moved and, okay. James has seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay,
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
before we go further, I think it would be appropriate to amend the agenda. This is, in addition to being a workshop, it is also a meeting. We've conducted business, we've taken votes. So I would suggest amending the agenda to reflect that this is a planning commission workshop and meeting. And the actions we've taken are the elections we've talked about and the amendments of the bylaws themselves.
okay. So just add that to the
Yes,
top line of the agenda
Planning
there.
commission, meeting, and workshop.
Yeah,
Right.
okay. Okay.
And I think you need to do that by motion.
We have a,
Move that we add meeting to our agenda.
okay. Fay has moved that we add planning commission workshop and meeting as the agenda title.
Second.
Moved and seconded by Nathan. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, unanimous.
This has been very easy.
Okay. We have, if that's everything, we have three, although actually I think it's 4 cases to look at tonight. Case number S-03-23-01, Kenneth Lower Contracting LLC has applied for a by right subdivision of a 10.3 acre A1 agriculture zone parcel located on Meander Run Road, Route 631. The subdivision would create 2 new parcels containing 3 acres and 4.3 acres, and a residue parcel containing 3 acres. An existing single-family dwelling is located on the proposed residue parcel, and this dwelling is addressed as 2093 Meander Run Road, Locustdale, Virginia. The subject parcel has not been subdivided in the previous 10 years, and once recorded, future subdivision rights on each parcel would be exhausted. The parcel is identified on Madison County's tax maps as 51-45. Okay, Ligon, any additional information on that?
No, I get everything to, I got everything to the health department, so they have all the pertinent documents and they're looking at it, and looks like we'll be having a couple weeks. Otherwise, it's by right, and you can see VDOT's response on the entrances. I think they look good. Other than that, that's it. Mr. Lawyer's here, by the way.
Okay, it has a existing entrance for the existing dwelling, right? That's the center one there?
That's right.
And then there's a proposed new entrance.
Yeah, there's entrance on the lot that's a narrow neck out the road. The other lot has an existing entrance, and at one point there was a trailer back there. So that actually has an existing entrance, it's still there.
Okay, is that the one that's shown kind of in the upper corner there? Okay. All right. Anyone have any question for Ligon on this?
I do.
Okay.
Hey, Megan, so being this is being divided up the way that it is, and I looked at the aerial, and this is all one big
wooded area. Do we know where the septic field is for the existing? Because it looks like it could be, is the new subdivision possibly through the field or anything like that? And if it is, do we need to be concerned about that?
I've got the septic document stuff on the health department of that, the septic staying on the existing lot with the house.
Yeah, I mean, the existing lot, where the house is, that's gonna be the 3 acres. They didn't map it, but that's on that 3 acres still, right? Yep.
What I'm asking is the original field on the middle lot now?
Yes,
That's right.
the existing drain field that goes with the house is still on that middle lot, yes.
And the well as well, I guess.
The well is gonna be up on that top lot. It's labeled
So the well for the middle, are we taking? Well, we may as well. In terms of efficiency.
You wanna have them come up here?
Well, let's,
Like,
I
over
have,
here.
I have one
Is there
quick,
anybody listening online? I mean, that's really the issue.
No, it's the minutes.
Yeah, if you don't,
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
sit there, but just hold the microphone.
yeah. Ligon, I have one quick question. Is this proposed entrance,
Well, yeah.
is that
Without-
a right-of-way or is that part of that lot property? It looks like a pipe stem.
yeah, they actually have bought out a pipe stem
That's,
for that property, that's correct.
that's, isn't that a subdivision no-no?
No, it just can't be over 300 feet.
Okay, so this is not long enough.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. It has to be 50 feet wide too, right? Is that 50? I don't see a width on that. If it's a pipe stem, it's gotta be 50 feet wide.
That should be 50 feet, yep. I mean,
I don't see a distance on there. Okay, but the total length is not long enough the total length of it is not long enough to qualify it or disqualify it, I might say.
Well, that's
as a
right.
pipe stem. Okay. I think a pipe stem is 50 feet in width and no more than 350. if I remember
It's
right.
exactly 50 feet. I've got
Okay.
the map here if y'all wanna see it.
Yeah.
I think it's 300 feet. No, I mean, no longer.
Okay. Any other questions? Any other
And so,
questions? for
yeah,
Lee?
the well, we
Well.
were gonna say something about the well.
Yeah.
So the existing
Well-
well is up on the top lot Y, is the existing well. It's labeled there, it's out by the road.
Okay, if we're going to go ahead with the applicant, identify yourself for the record, please.
Kenneth Floor, representing Kenneth Floor Contracting LLC.
Okay, thank you. And the question is about the location of the well.
And so what he said is the well for the existing, the middle property is on the other piece of property. Is that okay? Well, I mean,
That's what I
can you do
understand
that?
the city to say, is
Mm-hmm.
that correct?
sure, I mean, you just have to, have some sort of
There has to be
if
some
they
kind of
sell it, they
agreement.
have an agreement, they can maintain it and get to it, but is it right, that well is up there for the
Yeah,
existing?
we'll
house?
either do an easement or drill a new well, one or the other.
Right,
Okay.
it's not uncommon.
Yeah, I mean, but you're already aware that one or the other of those will have to be done.
Correct, yeah, we're either gonna do an easement to give right to use of that well to the existing dwelling, or drill a new well on that center lot for that one or the other.
I mean, it's a really good well, you could share it sometime.
It was shared before, because they had an old trailer there, like I said. I don't remember the trailer ever being there, it was gone when I bought the property, but there was a trailer there that was sharing that well.
So you can buy a building permit, Lincoln, with a shared well?
Yeah, I mean, if it's, health department approves it, I mean, there are shared wells. I mean, a couple houses, it's not uncommon. I don't think most people want to do that, but it can work. While the health department signs off on it.
Okay. Any other question for the applicant?
I don't have anything for the applicant, but just a general comment, probably more directed towards Ligon and just the commission as a whole. We got 3 lots, we got 3 driveways popping out there. I'm assuming a distance between doesn't matter. If you got a parcel, you can put a driveway to the road. Is that?
Yeah, I
pretty much
mean,
it, right?
they like to recommend that if you can share a driveway, that's more desirable. But if it's a separate lot, a by right subdivision, then really VDOT just kind of looks at it and say, hey, this maybe would be, if you could share, great. If you can't, then, Willis, Betzall, our entrance person, would have looked at it and said, decent sight distance, and it's, like you said in the email, everything looks good, so.
Yep, and I looked at it, it's not a really feasible setup. between
Right,
these
you don't
three
have a
lots for
situation where
shared
you can-
driveways. Unfortunately, it's just unfortunate, we kind of open up one thing and, right behind it comes something and it's like just driveways popping out onto the road again.
Yeah, if you could share, but I think with it looks small on the map, 3 acres, but 3 acres is pretty wide, pretty big lot, so, sometimes it's just not possible, with lots that size to always do a shared driveway.
Yeah, and I know for parcels opening on 29, there are minimum distances, but is that applicable on a back road like this? Is there
No, it really isn't. I mean, if you go, it really can't be, and like I said, it really, someone has a lot that's platted, an existing lot, they want to put a house on it, we'll send VDOT a request to look at the entrance and just determine where the best, where the best access would be, but they really can't deny someone access to the property, right? Right.
Well, yeah, especially, I say yes, especially since 2 of these are already existing. There's
The
only one.
ones that just,
No, he says that there's this one on the upper lot.
Yeah, lot Y, that's an existing entrance that was used to access, there was a trailer back there at one point, and then that entrance is still existing there.
when you go to the tax map thing, it doesn't even show any of the dotted lines like it normally does on the, I don't know why.
For road, well, these are just short driveways, I guess it may not be showing. All right, so,
All looks good to me, though. I mean,
all right,
It
there are, let's see, make sure I'm reading this in the right place. A1, entrance regulations, center line of any entrance onto Virginia primary road shall be 600 feet, which may not be applicable here because there are already the 2 existing entrances are already there. It's not considered primary, it's a secondary, okay. All right, that's, the other one was Route 29 to 900 feet for any new ones, that anything that was already there, that didn't apply to those either, but, okay.
I got one
Yes,
quick question. You have a drawing that shows that the drain field is on that property. The drain field also should have a reserve site. Is that still on that piece of property?
The original drain field was done in the 60s, I believe, so I don't think there is a reserve area or anything there.
I think so, but anyway.
There's 100% reserve on both new lots being created, but the residue does not have a reserve area chart or anything now.
It's just, I guess, again, I guess it's, since it's an existing dwelling with an
Still an
existing,
existing dwelling, Steve, it's like my house, is
Yeah.
an existing dwelling, but it has a reserve area. When I applied for my perk permit, I had to have a reserve.
Yeah, back, I don't know when they started making you do a reserve, back when this was permitted, they did not require a reserve area.
Well, I got a house that I owned, was did in 62, and it has a reserve. Just curious.
I think that's really a question for the health department.
I know,
Has
the health
the
department
health department
approves.
approved this?
Yeah, I mean, they have everything,
But have they approved it?
yeah, they're gonna go out and check the fields and make sure, I guess they go out and look at it, but the soil person has filed everything, and I sent the request through, so.
So they haven't approved it. If they haven't looked at it, how can they?
I mean, they've looked, they have it now, they've had it for weeks. I mean, I wouldn't get too deep in the weeds on septics and all that, I really wouldn't. I mean,
They
they
looked at the
can't,
new
we
lots.
can't
I
get a
don't
building
think-
permit,
I
yeah.
don't think they do anything on the residue. If you
Yeah.
don't have to get a perk site or anything for the residue, you do for
Right.
the new lots. You have to have the proposed well site, a drain, 10,000 square foot, usable drain field area for the drain field and a reserve area and stuff. But I don't think they require anything on the residue.
And I understand that, and I'm sure that they won't go look at anything on the residue. My concern was, if you broke a new lot off, and there was a reserve, and it was on that lot, and today my drain field went bad, I wanna come over on your lot to use my reserve.
Right. I can submit the documents I've got from when the drain field was put in and everything with the drawing and stuff if y'all like. But the drain field is gonna be back by, it's behind the house, away from the house on the road, where the reserve area would be right next to the drain field, where that's gonna stay on the lot as well. If there was, I don't believe there was a reserve area when it was done. I don't even remember the date on the permit.
I'm just curious, I didn't want somebody to buy a lot next door.
Right.
And then say, well, I can put it over there because I got a reserve there.
Well, they also got 3 acres. I mean, you know, if for some reason it did fail, I'm sure there's plenty of other, that, I think everything around there perks pretty well, so there'd be other options on that 3 acres.
Well, I mean, it looks, there's space, it looks apparently for reserve back behind the existing one from what he's describing. But I think, Ligon, for the next time we look at this, maybe clarify that, make sure that there is no problem, that the health department is satisfied with all of this no reserve drain field area shown on that center lot.
On the residue.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, the original permit for the drain field was put in 57.
Wow.
And then it was re-inspected by the health department in 1986.
Okay, any other question for the applicant? Okay, I think the next time we look at this, it would be nice to have, you know, that clarified. And just
Yeah, I mean,
make
I'll
sure there
call,
isn't any problem.
I mean, anybody can call Emily at the health department,
Yeah.
she'll tell you, but I can tell you, she's gonna tell me that, no, they're not gonna require anything on the residue. But I'll call just to make sure.
Okay, maybe just show the existing drain field area on that center lot, where it is. It's
You
not
have
shown
those?
here.
Yeah,
Well,
we'll get together.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a very rough sketch from what was on file with the health department.
Yeah, back then, they were very rough sketches anyway, yes.
That's right.
Somewhere in the back of the house, yeah. Okay, any other question? For the
I have
applicant? Yes,
one question, just a protocol. We're gonna discuss this again at the next
I
meeting?
assume we're still doing the two meetings
Well, this
discussion.
is still a workshop,
Yeah, it's still,
so you're not voting on it.
we can't vote on
We
it,
don't
right?
vote anyway, right, so we'll discuss it again at the next.
Although we said it was a meeting.
Yeah, we said, for the purpose of the election,
Right, yeah.
and the amendment of the bylaws.
Okay.
Meeting's over.
Yeah, but we will be looking at this a second time to make any clarifications. Okay. All right, any other questions, comments, or, okay, let's move on to the next one then. Thank you, sir. Okay, case number SU-03-23-02. Mr. Simon Graff has applied for a special use permit to operate 3 short-term rental units on a parcel which he owns. The undeveloped parcel is 10.7 acres and is zoned A1 agriculture. And in this zoning district, more than one short-term rental unit on a single parcel requires a special use permit. Each short-term rental unit would contain roughly 1,700 square feet of interior floor space with 2 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. The subject parcel is located on Etland Road, Route 643, and is identified on Madison County's tax map as 21-5A. All right, Ligon, any addition there?
Yeah, just to make sure, understand that the ability to put 3, dwellings on it, or even to subdivide it 3 times, is allowable. The question is, do you have more than one short-term rental? Mr. Graff is out of town. He will be here on the 15th and the 1st, obviously, so he'll be here to answer any questions. But the way he wants to place the units doesn't, if you look at that sketch, and those entrances is what VDOT recommended, and I'll get a letter from them, or at least a correspondence, an email. But I did talk to them, and they had a rationale why they wanted that double entrance. He explained it to me, but I'll get it written down clearer, but that's what they would like to see. It's low volume, well less than 50 trips a day. So subdividing it is the way he wants to lay it out is just really wouldn't be possible to subdivide it, so, and he has a conceptual layout. The applicant's willing to proffer, just run with him. He would, I don't know if he would live on one of the sites, but, he does have an address in Charlottesville, so would be right here to manage it, and does not have to be something that would be transferable. Seems comfortable, just, understanding that it would just be his special use permit, and for some reason it was sold. He would have to come in for another hearing. The only other thing I thought of, that it looks like the lot has kind of been cut over a little bit, if you see it, is maybe look at some landscaping and, the owner probably wants to do that anyway, sort of build some sort of buffering and plant some trees. So that might be something that we might want to consider as a condition. But otherwise, short-term rental, sure you've probably seen the sketches. They're a little different, maybe what we're used to, but as far as the look. But otherwise, any other questions for me?
Yeah, so, and once again, I'm back on the drain field again. This shows one drain field for all three.
There is, and I'll get the paperwork, but I have more paperwork from the applicant. There are 3 separate 2-bedroom drain fields on that property. I think there are 2 on file, 2-bedroom on file, and then he just filed another one. So I can get all that documentation. I did call Emily and talk to her directly about this one, so everything is out there. I included what he had, but there's some other, I've got a bunch of drain field documents from him, and I went through and made sure that, okay, everyone, it's there. I think that one there is the new one that he just got. But there are 2 existing ones.
Because that's got quite a slope to it.
It does.
I mean, a real slope. I mean,
Yeah.
So I'm kind of doing something very similar down the road from that lot, and we were barely lucky to find one. Not saying that they didn't find 3.
Right.
I was just curious as how they found 3.
There are there, right.
Okay, okay.
Did we post signs on the property so that the neighbors can see what's going on?
Well, the ad hadn't gone in the paper. I usually wait till the ads go to the paper a couple weeks before and put the sign up.
And this will be one common road going to all 3 of them still?
That's right. It's got a little layout sketch.
It looks like maybe the terrain is the reason for having to cluster them like that.
I think so, right.
So I see 2 drain field plats trying to kind of match up where they are. It's hard to do since they're reversed.
I don't see 2.
Yeah, there's unit, permit 1, unit 1, and then on the back of that, there's units 2 and 3. The shape of the,
Get number 1 construction permit,
yeah,
2-bedroom. That's already been filed. And then on the back there, units 2 and 3.
it's kind of hard to overlap them because they're,
Yeah, I have another document I didn't include in the packet because it was so thick. It is all the drain field documents. It's a thick packet. I'll go through it and.
okay, that would be good to see. Because it looks to me, probably based on the terrain, that those drain fields are gonna have to all be down maybe in one corner there.
So all of them 2 bedrooms, all
Yes.
3 units?
That's right.
2 baths. I mean, 2 baths.
The pictures look like they would do something in Virginia Beach. They look like they're on piles.
Yeah, they
wooden
are.
piles. Are they on piles or?
They are.
What's the really?
On piers, right.
Are these some kind of
Concrete piers, I assume.
modular units or?
Or
This-
block piers.
What's that?
Do you know, are these modular units? Or
Yeah.
This is an odd-looking design.
I'm not, he's working with a company, I forget where they're out of, but they, they come in, I believe that it is they're stamped architectural, I'm not sure if it's modular built, yeah, it's built off-site, but it has a Virginia stamp.
They're engineered buildings then.
Right. Well, not built in Virginia, but they meet the, they'll have a stamp.
It's one of those package deals.
So,
Right.
so they don't really have to have a roof that connects them to make them, I mean, they can be connected by a deck and it still be one unit?
I mean, he does have some separate, it's one unit, but yeah, there are some separate, I think there's a little office on one side.
Well, it showed two studies.
Right.
On the plans, it showed a study
Right.
on the right and a study on the left.
Right.
Basically, a main unit in the middle.
I mean, Jamie and I have sat down with Mr. Graff and talked about what he would need and, foundation, engineered foundation and stamped. If it's an off-site, modular construction, then it has to have Virginia stamp. Architect and engineer stamp.
Look, I have a question. Right here on this page here with the blue outline, it shows a proposed entrance and an existing entrance. You have to close one of those, correct?
Let me see here, proposed entrance.
I think he's looking at this flat.
The thing's gonna have two entrances. If you look at the conceptual site plan, there's two entrances on the road. So I'm assuming it looks like one of those is gonna be the existing entrance and then proposed. they have a
Yeah,
second entrance.
I think one of them is an existing entrance, and then there'll be a second entrance. And like I said, I talked to our VDOT contact, and he met out there, VDOT first, and Willis met out with Simon at the site, and this is what they came up with. And I forget the reason. I'll have to ask them again why they prefer that double entrance, but that's what they like to see. And one is an existing sort of, it's where, if you look in that picture I have, that's where I parked my car. There's a little existing, but it's not much, just a little existing kind of cut there where you can get it, off the road onto the property.
Right, where the log trucks came out.
Right. It's not a lot.
So they proposed to move it 120 feet closer to the curve.
Is that the footage? I mean,
That's what it says.
121.
It says 121 feet, and their proposed entrance is closer to that curve on Etland Road. Oh, well.
yeah, I mean,
Says it's okay, we get paid.
that's the distance between the two entrances. I'll, like I said, I did talk to Mr. Bedsall from VDOT, and he explained it to me, but I'll have a better explanation of why they have those entrances like that. But, I mean, it's good sight distance. I mean, it's, you can see there, either direction, it's pretty good.
Okay, these. One of, I guess the,
VDOT will tell them. Well, then it's on VDOT.
at least two out of the three structures are gonna be pretty easily visible from the road, it looks like.
But they're made of mirrors.
Yeah.
You're not gonna see these things.
They're not beautiful.
That was my question.
Yeah, it's real, this is cutting edge.
Until the sun hits them. then it's
Yeah, and
bad.
then we got real problems.
Big break in 78 bad lot.
Flat roof in that,
That's
Okay.
that's on him.
that's on him, yeah.
All I gotta say, it's on him.
So Ligon, obviously, and still, once again, back to the way that they're set apart from each other, they wouldn't rent like two of these units on the side and I mean, each unit's gonna be rented as one rentable unit.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And not
That's right.
three different.
No.
Separate things.
Yeah, it's, each one is a separate own rental.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying, though, right? I mean,
Yeah, I understand, yeah. I mean, I asked him about that. He says, no, it's all one unit. And I think the idea is it's supposed to be sort of like, you could come, rent it, if it was short-term or long-term, and you could have an office to work out in this, mirror house.
None there.
Yeah,
Yeah, it looks like you rent them to the renter and 8 of his best friends. Because, I mean, not to be cynical, but if I were doing this, I would have fold-out beds in the upper-level study and fold-out beds in the lower-level study.
Well, we're not doing it.
Yeah, and we're not cynical, are we? Okay,
No, and we're not gonna be paying for it.
that's right. But everybody that drives by is gonna see this monstrosity.
It might not look so bad, come on.
Maybe we can get them to make
If
the.
if they pay their TOT,
Yeah. Ask them to do, instead of the shiny mirrors, maybe gray.
oh, come on, no, that's not what we
Oh,
want to do.
well,
I know.
we're getting off topic here. Any other?
I think a fair concern is how it affects traffic.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, if
true.
there's gonna be glare, if that's something I would think the planning commission might wanna address. I think the board of supervisors might wanna address.
They are facing north, though. That's facing north? I think that it probably is.
so it's kind of north, I guess it'd be north, it faces northwest.
They pop up on my Instagram all the time. This kind of design art is already somewhere.
Really?
And yeah,
Yeah,
and
they-
it's very popular. They call it like the mirrored something or other. I don't- It's like the Airbnb in North Carolina somewhere.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it takes a long time. They're back ordered and, you go and it takes forever to get one, but,
I wanna hear what you have to say about traffic and what we're gonna do to regulate this guy's mirrored Airbnb and on the Inlet Road.
It's simple, you deny the special.
Yeah,
use
no, there it
permit.
is, all right, simple enough.
I'm excited about what's going on.
Or you have a
See a
date
letter.
in terms of
When
getting
they
the
fire at it.
to use gray glass.
I mean, the closest one is 110 feet from the road, the other two are
Yeah.
I can see the moon from my house.
We had to stay
How
there.
far is that?
Oh dear, I'm losing control.
Nobody on my side of the, all right.
I think the idea is you don't see it, right? Because they're mirrors, so they reflect whatever's around, so you actually don't see that it's even there, I think.
It's reflecting the foliage of the trees there.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think that's the idea.
And I'm sure it has some anti-glare kind of stuff. I mean,
Yeah,
they do
Well,
that.
those are the questions that I would submit the applicant needs to answer to your satisfaction.
You know,
Yeah.
anti-glare. And they put that everywhere, even your eyeglasses. They say.
Yeah, that's,
All right.
that close to the road and that small property with 3 rental units, yeah, I think it's
I mean,
fair
it's
fair enough to ask.
110 feet off the road.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, driving down Etland Road, if it would glare you. It would, I mean, I don't know.
Well,
When he gets here.
yeah,
we can
when,
Yeah, he'll be here on the 15th, but,
yeah, and those are some questions that can be expected, I guess, then, when
We
we
might need
talk.
to go back up to 9, guys. We fell apart down here.
All right. Any other pertinent questions here?
All I would say is
Yes.
if Gracie knows where there are these particular, do some research on your own, satisfy yourself.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, the only thing
Yes.
I would wanna make sure we do is notify the people who live along.
Yeah.
I guess it's
You'll do that.
Redgate Road and, the immediate neighbors on Weekly Hollow and then the back pieces. Because, again, and I have no idea what these things look like, but if reflection is truly an issue, just make sure that the neighbors have plenty of sight.
Yeah, and that is something, when we look at this at the next meeting, perhaps an actual photograph of an actual building instead of these piecemeal things like we've got here, so we can see what it really looks like.
On the website.
And Redgate Road's up on top of the mountain. It's, so Redgate Road's gonna be looking down at this. Yeah, Redgate Road can't even see it.
Yeah, and we can't control that.
Well,
Yeah, right, that's right. I demoed that house on top of Redgate Road. I demoed that house on top of Redgate.
I mean, to be honest, Ligon, if I were doing this, the reason I would have it broken up into all these separate pictures where you can't see the whole thing, because he doesn't want us to see the whole thing in one place. And all he's got is this very rough sketch. I would like to see in the next packet, the whole building. That he's obviously proposing a engineered package building, so somewhere he knows what it's gonna look like.
They're on the website, as a builder, I'm sure, of the manufacturer of these things.
Okay, any other discussion on this one? Very good, okay. All right, case number SU-03-23-03, on behalf of the Madison County Board of Supervisors and Emergency Services, Motorola Solutions Incorporated, MSI, has submitted a special use permit application to develop a wireless communication facility, WCF. The proposed WCF will provide public safety radio coverage for the county's public safety system. The WCF would be confined to a leased 50-foot by 50-foot fenced-in compound located on a 38.7 acre A1 agriculture zone parcel. This parcel is located on Churchill Road, Route 643, approximately 0.3 miles, 1,752 feet, from the intersection of Churchill Road and South Fort Valley Road, Route 231. Per Article 1 zoning ordinance, Section 14-13-4, uses requiring a special use permit, WCFs exceeding 100 feet in height require a special use permit. The proposed lattice tower's height would be 174 feet, including an attached 4-foot lightning rod. The subject property does not contain a postal address, but is identified on Madison County's tax maps as 15-60J. Sounds pretty straightforward, Ligon?
Yeah, I guess the Hughes River site, they had a lot of access problems, and it just, and Brian can talk more about that, but it just didn't work, so they're moving it to this site. Just take a right there on Churchill, and it's on the left. So they hope to have, I think I said in the email Friday, they hope to have the contractor they're using is to have the balloon tests on the 7th of February, and that should be in the paper this week, and maybe a backup date on the 10th or something like that. So they want to have the they want to have the complete application done by the 10th, which is when I would need it in order to be able to advertise it. So if they can get it done before then we'll move forward for March 1st, but if not, it'll just be kicked back till April 5th. So we're just hoping that they can get everything done for the application that's in the packet. So they're working on that now. The contractor is.
Is 20 feet, is just a 20-foot easement there for them to access it and for the utilities run there?
Is that what they're showing?
It says 15-foot wide gravel access with 20-foot wide access and utilities.
Yeah, I mean, that should be more than adequate to access it.
This is a lease, it's not a purchase, so they're not subdividing the land or anything, it's just an access road.
Right, it's just just access just to get in and maintain that.
Okay, we're prepared for all the neighbors are notified, all of the, because
Well-
they're gonna say, there's a tower here, we don't wanna be able to see it, so they know that's.
Yeah, it's a little, a little different location than up on Hughes River, so I don't know if that's,
Well, I
gonna be
mean, we know-
controversial or not, but, the letters would go out on the 10th if we get everything in the application.
Yeah, we know from experience that there are gonna be people fussing about that no matter what, so. We have to be prepared for that, yeah.
Will anybody else be able to locate on this tower, just the county?
Have to pay, but yes.
I think they would love to have some people located on it.
It's a trade-off too.
There's no question about this tower being up there, that's a no-brainer.
It needs to be there,
Absolutely, it's
yeah.
gotta be.
That doesn't mean we're not gonna have half a dozen people out here.
How all you want,
Yeah.
about the people's safety up there.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they still don't have cell service down in Uno, do they?
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
that's Francis Thornton Road, that's Valley Road is FT, not Fort Valley Road.
thank you, sir.
Francis Thornton.
Is it really?
Yes, that's FT.
Okay.
Don't listen to your GPS that says Fort Valley Road.
We got a Fort Valley Road in Page County, but
It's named for a person.
Right, Pete?
Okay.
Right.
I mean, that's new to me. I just thought it was
I
231.
always wondered where that T stood for.
Francis
Thirty-one is.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever heard that.
Okay. Any other question for Legan on that since the applicant's not here? All right. Any public comment on that since you any other public comment on that? Okay, thank you. All right. And the fifth case, which we didn't realize would be on here until recently. Case number SP-03-23-04. Mr. Roger Scott has submitted a site plan to construct a poultry house facility on a 99.8 acre A1 zone parcel, which he owns. In the A1 zoning district, a poultry facility is a by right use. Madison County Site Plan Ordinance requires site plans for developments with a land disturbance area of 40,000 square feet or more be submitted to the Planning Commission for review and the Board of Supervisors for approval. The subject site plan shows an additional one poultry facility measuring 63 feet by 804 feet being constructed with a total land disturbance of 6.25 acres. The applicant has submitted a stormwater management plan to the Virginia Department of Environmental Quality, and approval is pending. The subject parcel contains two existing poultry houses or facilities with a postal address of 2494 Locust Grove Church Road, Route 616. The parcel is also identified on Madison County's tax map as 57-53. Okay, Legan, any?
yeah, so this, like it says, I apologize, I just totally blanked my mind in last week, but they turned their plans into DEQ probably a couple months ago, and whether or not that their stormwater plan, because they're doing over an acre of disturbance. So whether or not that's approved or not by March 1st, we don't know, but I think it's totally appropriate. Everything is in order, and we could approve it with the condition that they have that. There's already two poultry houses there, and they disturb about seven acres. So it's big buildings, I mean, really are, so, otherwise, being that it's over 40,000 square feet, like I said in the ad, this would be something that goes for a plan commission, the board. But
All right. Did he indicate the capacity of this building?
Yeah.
I mean, it looks to me like he's going to be, the 1,000 laying hens or broilers, he's going to be in the intensive poultry structure. And, just dotting our i's and crossing our t's. Does he have the or do you have the information about his, what is it, approved?
They're
nu-
not laying.
They're not laying?
The turkeys have been
They're
turkeys.
turkey.
They're turkeys? All right, it's 500 turkeys then.
Okay.
It requires a nutrient management plan.
Oh, you'll have all that.
He's got all that?
Absolutely.
Oh, he'll have everything. He's selling, he's in business with some person dealing with this.
Okay.
He's got somebody that he's dealing with, he sells it or whatever.
Yeah, just,
Purdue, sure. Okay, you just answered.
like I said, just crossing our Ts and dotting our Is. All of this is in place. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, he has an engineer that's done every, he's got everything with DEQ. As far as a nutrient management plan, I mean, he probably has to have that for,
For
He's had
Purdue.
one for years.
yeah.
Oh, he's got that, you know he's got it. They're very strict,
so that's updated for the new additional building and,
I'm sure.
okay.
Yeah, we wouldn't have, the county doesn't, I think that's a DEQ thing as well,
No,
nutrient management
not
plan,
according
so.
to this. Let's see, who does it say? Anyway, because it's an intensive poultry use structure, there, in addition to the DEQ stuff, there's other things that are,
He has all of
He's got it,
every,
I guarantee
and hold, I think, 25,000 per.
you. Yeah.
definitely intensive.
You couldn't build a building that size and put 500 birds in it.
No, I'm just, my concern is that we want to make sure that this is right there in front of us. I mean, the site plan is what he's applying for, but this is because our ordinances require these other things as well as the site plan for intensive poultry housing. And what, let's see, this is, well, maybe we can just get a little more explanation of how
Well,
this stuff.
he will be at the next meeting.
Yeah,
I called today, so I'm sure he can fill us in on his nutrient management plan, and maybe by then we'll have the stormwater plan, but I don't know if the stormwater is gonna come before the March one or not, but,
For those of you that don't know where it's at, don't go right down the road and think you're gonna see it, because you're not going to. He keeps the gate locked so you don't carry no disease
Oh,
in
that's
there.
right, yep.
So you ain't gonna go see it.
I believe it's got a Cargill sign out there, doesn't it?
Just a little small one.
yeah.
And if you wanna see one, go over the valley and you'll see dozen of them within anywhere, believe me.
All right,
All
here,
automated, what
Yeah.
it needs to be, it's very, very sophisticated.
yeah, here's one of them, the
I have a really good friend that lives right across from us, no smell, no
The-
nothing.
The nutrient management plan has to be reviewed and approved by the Virginia Department of Conservation and Recreation.
DCR.
Or by the Virginia Extension Service,
Guaranteed.
or,
But,
Every-
see, don't worry about, he wouldn't even sign a contract if they wouldn't sign a contract with him if he didn't have all these things. I can guarantee you, having been in that business, not like he is, but it's very strict, with inspectors, with everything. Am I right?
How long has this operation been going on?
Long time.
Long time. Has he been there?
Six, 7, 8 years, something like that. He's been there a good while.
It's very expensive to build, so he's got the future all mapped out, I can guarantee you. He knows what he's doing.
The stormwater ponds, I think he's opening 4 with this facility. And the previous 2, they didn't make him do anything.
He knows what he's getting into, I would say.
I would, at the follow-up meeting on this, I would like, if he would provide just the basic information on.
yeah, I mean,
I'd feel a lot more comfortable.
yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, it's sort of like with the health department.
Yeah.
They're in our code, and we make reference to them, but ultimately the, agencies that have the authority, there's nothing wrong with asking and knowing, what has to be done. And I'm sure he can explain it to him, but from my office's perspective, the big thing is having
Right.
the storm, looking at it, it fits, we can do it. As far as zoning goes, it's over 40,000 square feet, so it has to go through the plan commission. But, yeah, I think that they're on the ball with everything as far as who needs to get what.
Okay, any other comment or question on that? Okay. Any additional items from the planning commission? Any additional items from the public? All two people. All right.
I've got one, Mr.
Okay.
Chairman. So Ligon, just real quick, so Ahmed,
Okay.
Ahmed has come back into, Ligon to say that he is identified on a 190-acre parcel, out off of Kirtley Road near, Prince Michelle, that he wants to know if we would consider, he wants to put, we're talking about 100 units on 190 acres.
I think it was 120
120 units.
on 190 acres,
Now,
right.
the last time we went through this, I'll call out Mike. Mike gave me a hard time. And then that's fine. And so did Peter Work about the process, that, we led this guy on. We asked him for this, we asked him for that, and he provided this, provided that, and then ultimately we all voted him down. But the process, as I see it, is, he should get his day in court, so to speak. So if he wants to, I remember when Michael Yoder was gonna move to his new location, and he called, I think he talked to me, and I probably might talk to you about, could I come to a planning commission workshop and just show up and just throw my idea out, and you all kind of, say, yeah, we would be interested in hearing more, so go for it. So the process is what? I think our process is good, and if he goes through all this stuff, he gets his day in court. So should we, I would leave the planning commission, should we invite Ahmed to come in at a workshop coming up sometime in the future, next couple of months, Dr. Levin?
Yeah, well, I talked to him the other day, and I think he wants to go sooner rather than later.
Okay.
I mean, I told him at least 2 workshops and then a hearing. It would be, but I think with this one, and what I would recommend is, and I told him, there's going to be some whether it's hard to give an answer just, broad brush talking to someone, but I do believe that, it's one of these things that, we look back the one back on Ford Shop, and I always say that the proposal did change some, but ultimately it was pretty much the same proposal from the get-go.
Yeah, and
You know,
in
it-
our defense on
Right.
him, I think I remember the planning commission telling him it was too dense right from the get-go, okay? Huh? Did you not?
They did.
And ultimately that,
I wasn't having a problem.
that held throughout the whole thing, I think. But anyhow,
Yeah, I guess the only thing I would probably recommend is that, and I told him, like with things like septic, like we said before, if you can't get those things, then you don't have a project. So just kind of put that to the side and say, hey, look at the thing, big picture. We got a layout, this is how many units, these are maybe conditions. If we were to approve you and ultimately the board, then when you do a site plan, then, hey, we're gonna start then you're gonna have to bring in all your perk tests and all those type things, to support the structure. So that would be my only recommendation is probably, the hard engineering can wait to that next step.
Yeah,
If,
and this is a densely forested, much larger area. It doesn't face on the Robinson River. It's not a high visibility location. Infrastructure's there. It's within a couple of miles off of 29. So-
Oh, no, it's not a couple miles, it's right off 29.
Yeah.
Well, I think the first thing we want him to do is go have a conversation with VDOT. will the traffic even work here? You know, there's a couple of simple things he can do. Have I got the right type of soil here to proceed? You know, I think he could ask a couple of those questions, and it gives us a little idea of where to start from.
And I have another question, just seeing the whole picture of things and watching what's going on right now, sort of. So this is A1, the 190 is A1, but forest, not prime agricultural land right now?
Yeah, it's all
It's not
in,
farmed.
right, no, it's just in woodlands, but I think it's a kind of a scrub. You know, there's some hardwoods, but a lot of it's,
So it's not farmed right now?
yeah,
Crops or animals?
it's right behind Prince Michelle. Yeah. If I had the computer, I could show
need to know that
you.
because I can see that being used as, against using our farmland for something like this. I mean, we're getting into comp time, we're talking about the use of our land. So if it's that, then we can't use that argument. Try to eliminate some of this stuff for me. And so,
Well, it's my opinion, sorry, it's my opinion that it's his right, if it's his property, it's his right, whether it's got trees on it, it's
Well-
farmland, whatever, to do whatever he wants to do with it.
That's
That's
true.
my opinion.
But that
And
didn't seem to
who is
work
it
that
us
way.
for him to tell him that it's not the right property? It's
I
his.
I'm-
That's where I'm
like I'm
coming.
being the devil's advocate here.
I got you, well,
The real question here is, we're back to the same deal, is the density.
Yep.
He now, before he went through the process, he went and tried to get more and went and got more property proposed, stuck with the same density. Density was the issue. The question now is with this 190 of wooded land that's right next to Prince Michelle, y'all okay with the 120, and do you want to kind of proceed?
Well, I never knew why the density was an issue for you all, because all the other water issues and all that was gonna be solved. That was gonna be solved by bringing in whatever he needed to do. That was on him as part of his business plan, part of his expense. So I'm just trying to think, what else could we come up with that would be an option?
make sure there's no neighbors.
No, you don't want.
Well, you got a problem.
Right, if there's neighbors, there's
Prince
gonna be a
Michelle
problem.
there.
Being
Yeah,
wooded helps
whatever.
with that a little bit.
That's gonna help, but sure.
So I'm
Would the
not sure
planning
what,
commission like for him to come in?
yes, I say
I
yes.
guess that's really the only question.
Right.
Yeah.
Tonight, that's
Yeah,
all.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
You want him in?
You
Well,
want to
I
invite
say
him
we
and
talk
say-
to him again.
I liked the
That's my
project the first time.
vote. Me too.
Well, I think he's gonna come, regardless. He's planning on coming and talking, so.
I would like to hear his.
So to answer your question, in my opinion, would be yes.
I think he's very brave, frankly. Not knowing-
Okay, that's all I have.
So it sounds like consensus, we would be willing for him to
Invite
bring
him.
this proposal in?
Sure.
Well, yeah, even if it's a bare sketch at this point.
Yeah. Keeping in mind that he's still gonna have, there's gonna be some hard questions, I expect, just like there
Well,
were
that's
before.
what we need to do. We need to ask the hard questions.
That's really what most people are gonna look for, is like, ask the hard questions up front so they know they're gonna be able to do
Right.
it before they spend a
They
bunch
ever
of
do.
money and then aren't able to do
Correct.
it. So if it's something if you're not gonna consider, tell them that from the front, why not, so they're not spending all this money and then you can't do it.
That's it.
And stuff like that.
Exactly.
Yep.
And don't ask about how much it's gonna cost to rent them. You don't want to know what I just paid at Fort Lewis for September, because I wanna be there.
I will, don't jump on me, but this is something that Peter Work suggested, and I think it's probably a good idea. When we look at stuff like this, especially these high-impact things, it's worth our while to ask, not necessarily for a, consultant study, but an environmental and economic impact statement of some kind, at least, maybe
By
just
whom?
from Ahmed. What do you think this is going to provide economically to the county? Are there any environmental issues that you're going to have to deal with?
Peter gonna fund it?
That's what,
That's
not
right.
That's what
not
he just
necessarily a
said.
consultant doing that,
It's-
but,
Before you dump the money into all that stuff.
right. Let us know at least what he thinks
Yeah.
is
Oh,
going
yeah,
to be,
that's fine.
because, all of us were making different assumptions about this previous,
Can you imagine what would have happened in
Project.
the Permian Basin if somebody didn't wanna pay a geologist before he dug his first well.
Yeah.
It's a cost of doing business.
It's
Yeah.
a cost, and he's
Plain
got a
and simple.
business.
Yeah, and I think he understands that. I mean, Clay said that at that meeting. It's the cost of doing business. And it's our business to ask him some questions
Perhaps.
and not necessarily tell him what we think ahead of time.
My other question would be, do we do this for everybody? Or is it
I
just the
think-
hard ones?
I think this is a high impact.
Because that was another thing that we
Yeah.
are, there's some other observations that have been made to me by outsiders about how we're treating certain people. And I think we need to be very careful of that we don't appear to ever be, I'll just bring it, I mean, I'm not gonna say it, but we just need to be very careful. What did you say? Well, I don't know. I think we just need to treat everybody the same. If we ask this person, if we wanna see his business plan, we need to see this.
I'll listen to anybody at any time, I
Yeah.
don't care.
But-
Look, I think it's important to tell him, when you have the discussion with him, yeah, we definitely wanna listen, but come with your highest expectations from the beginning. Don't try to lead us down a road and then get to the end and wanna change us. Tell me straight up where you're coming from the beginning.
No, it'll be easy to get the impact, economic impact, that's for sure. He knows how he's gonna rent them, what he's gonna charge
Yeah.
for to make money at all.
The one thing that when Ligon mentioned this, I was curious about it. He indicated that his business model required for break even, basically, 70 units.
Nobody's gonna build
And now he's-
120 units break even.
Yeah, now he's gone to
See, now you-
120.
On 100.
Don't even talk
Yeah,
about
That
that.
that's
doesn't
not
matter,
true.
it's 'cause
It's
it's
a
got the
larger
land there.
property.
Nobody makes that investment to break even.
No,
Yeah,
they don't.
well, to make a profit or whatever, but
Yeah,
he never backed off on those 70, and I don't know if he's ever gonna back off on the 120.
But
So,
maybe you're not talking
If it's an
120, it's
issue.
fine. If you're used,
if it's an issue for any of
That's
us,
it. I mean, that's a pretty easy question to answer.
yeah.
you can ask it. 190
I think
acres.
the price of the property out there is considerably less than what he was looking at
I would guess
Might
that's
be.
true.
by the river.
Might be.
Considering the
Right there.
owner and so forth.
And
yeah.
it's his business plan.
I know, it's sort of pre-existing, but I mean, they got, what, 110 units or something on 30 acres? Madison Vines?
Madison Vines, 150, up to 150.
I mean, and I think consistency is something that's been touched on, it's what people are getting at. We need to be
Yes.
consistent, we need to ask for the same things. What Ligon was touching on earlier is, we don't need to ask a bunch of questions about the septic, because
That
that's,
has to be
That's
dealt
already
with, yeah.
done.
you know, somebody's taking care of that if they're doing their job, which maybe, sometimes they're not gonna, you know, they're gonna miss stuff too. They're human people in every department, but, you know, VDOT, they're doing their job.
That's right.
DEQ, whoever's looking at these things, like, we need to focus on, do we want it as a good thing for Madison? What's the long-term projection? And,
Yes.
you know, not on typos and the notes and stuff and how they, and just like collectively as a whole.
That's a good point.
That's
In fact,
exactly right.
That's why this location I like a lot better. Like Madison Vines, it's not gonna be visible for the neighbors much. Unless he decides he's gonna clear cut, which is another different thing. But if it's not visible, and it's got good infrastructure, the roads to it are good. I mean, those were 2 or 3 of our really big problems with the previous.
But I heard about traffic impact and all, there's been none. You don't even know when they come and go.
Well, in this site, that wouldn't be an issue because, like I said, it's right off of
It
29.
won't matter, they can come in from several different directions to see me through.
Yeah, and if it remains wooded, it's the visual impact, just like Madison Vines, you don't see that from the road. I mean, it's true, there's this huge number of RV sites there, but you don't see it from the road.
Okay.
Okay, any other,
Motions.
do we have any other comments from the? All right, can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
All right, moved by Fay, seconded by James. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? As expected, okay. Thank you.
Thank you for saying that, 'cause I wanted to say that so bad. Not a controversial thing. better keep my mouth
Yeah,
shut.
we were all around it.
We were.
Last time I'm doing this.
What's that?
Thank you. So did it turn out okay for you? Are you okay with this, giving it up?
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it, you know, I learned.
Where's that? Oh, okay.
That's what I,
And if I did,
Poor
I never
turkeys.
would've got it in.
well,
Poor turkey.
just, that's.
Should I tell Regan
Well, he'll take it over again if it doesn't work, right, Nathan? Anyway.
Yeah.
Minutes and minutes. See, I'm very old school. Steve and I talked about this, very old school about, I think I said it to you. Minutes are very important. We need that written copy, and a video doesn't work. We need written copy signed, or now.
Got a couple of those people?
I was on the borderline there a few times.
But you fixed it so it was okay. It was acceptable.
Except for total loss of control a few times.
Oh, yeah, all in all, Mrs. Lincoln, how was the play?
So when is it? It's
No,
next week, I think.
I mean,
It's Thursday night, maybe.